Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli, and it really is my sole goal to connect you with tools and resources, foundations, organizations, doctors, maybe things and people that you didn't even know existed in the world of autism. And one of the biggest questions I get from like-minded parents are, what happens to my kid when I'm not here? Like, where do they go? And for the more profound autism adult, where can they live if they need round-the-clock care? So today on the show, we're going to feature communities that are truly popping up all over the country that are catering to young adults on the spectrum. First one up, we head to Texas. Welcome to the show, Debra Caudy. She is the CEO and founder of 29 Acres. Hi, Debra. How you doing?
I'm good, Gina. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm so happy that you're on, the founder, CEO of 29 Acres, because I wanted to bring you on first. So many people are trying to emulate the great things that you've done down in Texas. So, Debra, can you tell me a little bit about how 29 Acres came to be?
Yeah, sure. And first of all, thank you for having me this morning. This is something that is clearly near and dear to my heart, and I like to talk about it a lot. So I have a young adult myself. His name is John, and he's 25 years old now. And I would say probably about a decade ago or a little more, I began to think about what my husband and I were going to do when he aged out of the school system, where he was going to live, who was going to support him. What would all of that look like when we're no longer around? And that's, when I started thinking about, what kind of life.
Affordable housing?
Well, I just started to think about what my vision might be for him and for others. And I began to connect with other families that had a similar need. We went around and looked at several places around the country. There weren't too many available back then. I began to connect with some movers and shakers in the housing, disability housing space. And, a few years later, we had the vision. We had the vision for 29 Acres. And of course, that has evolved over the last several years as well, and you never end up where you started, but it's just a wonderful, fun process anyway.
So now, Debra, how many residents do you have at 29 Acres?
We have 42 residents currently.
42 residents. Mm-hmm. And are they in all individual houses? Do they have roommates? How does that look?
So we have 10 houses at 29 Acres. And the majority of them are 4-bedroom, 4-bath homes. There are some that are 5 bedrooms, and then we have a couple of duplexes. And collectively, we can house 42 to 43 individuals at 29 Acres. Yeah.
And is 29 Acres private pay? Do you accept waivers? Do you take Medicare? I know viewers want to know these answers.
29 Acres has a very complicated revenue stream in that we take multiple funding sources. We do, of course, take private pay, which is how we started, and now we have begun to weave in the waivers house by house. We had to work on some advocacy work within the state to be able to go through a heightened scrutiny process to be able to accept the waivers, but we think we have that done.
Okay.
And we think we have final approval, to accept waivers. And then, of course, we take, SSI as well. And then finally, as a nonprofit, we're able to offer some scholarships. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because what's the cost about every month to live there?
It's roughly $2,900 a month to live there. And then for those that need individualized support, they would choose the support agency of their choice. It doesn't have to be 29 Acres. We do provide support, but we want it to be very choice-driven. We have always wanted to be a consumer-directed property. So the residents choose their service provider. and they get billed for those services separately.
Now, for $2,900, can you just walk our viewers through what that includes outside of the actual, house that they're living in?
Yeah, so it includes the rent and community fees.
Utilities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically everything except for any additional direct support that that individual might need. So it includes, we have multiple amenities on site. We have 29 acres, so we have a lovely clubhouse. We have a nice big pool and a huge hot tub. We have walking paths. We have a 1 acre organic garden in the back. We have some alpacas and some animals and all kinds of things to get into, but it includes basically all of the utilities, use of all the amenities. It includes some transportation to grocery stores and Walmart. It includes an overnight security guard, property manager 7 days a week, social activities on the weekends and in the evenings, both on and off campus. And all of the utilities and full use of the property. And that's about it. Yeah. So it's basically everything except for direct support.
This is terrific. I love these communities that are popping up, and I know that you're busy down at 29 acres because so many people come there to see how you've done it, because you've done it right. And what would you say the residents would say is the best thing about living on site at 29 acres?
I would say having friends, having somebody to hang with when they're not working. Many of our residents, we support the full spectrum of neurodiversity.
Yes.
So we have individuals that work 30 to 40 hours a week, and we have individuals that are not able to work right now, and then everything in between. And I think the residents are happy. They're happy. They walk out of their house and they're always seeing people or staff. They come up to my office and wave and open the door. There's people around, you're never alone. And, we facilitate, social opportunities and, things to do and togetherness. And I think, many times left to themselves, they don't get that done. And, they stay in their rooms and game. And
yes.
So, but I think that's probably the number one thing that residents would say is they have friends and people to be with and community.
And their families can come in for visits and take them wherever they want to go. And I'm sure that that's a really nice, pleasant opportunity for families to, number one, come and tour. And once their young adult moves there, then they can come back I'm sure they have you have family weekends and things like that.
It's an independent living community. So we don't have any rules about visitation, coming and going. So families come and visit whenever they want. Residents go on vacation whenever they want. Very much, neurotypical adult living
lifestyle.
Yeah.
I love this. Debra, where can people find 29 acres?
Just 29acres.org, 29acres.org.
Do you have social media?
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's 29 acres.
Okay, so we need to find out more with 29acres.org. Debra Caudy, thank you so much, CEO and founder of 29 Acres. Is your son living there now on the property?
My son is living there, and he is so, so happy. And of course, that's the best part of my job, is I get to see him, every day. But, I take him home all the time, with me. He has siblings in Dallas, and so, he has two families, and he's very happy, very, very happy there. Yeah, he likes it.
And that's really what we want for our children in general, is to just be happy, safe, and healthy. And it sounds like 29 Acres certainly lends a little helping part to make this happen for our folks on the spectrum. Thank you so much again, Debra, for being here today.
You are very welcome, Gina, and thank you for having me. Thank you.
And now we head to South Carolina. Welcoming back on the show, Lorri Unumb, the founder of the Unumb Center for Neurodevelopment. Lorri, what are the big waves you're making in South Carolina?
Oh, Gina, we're so excited about working to build a community for adults with autism. The ABA Treatment Center that my husband and I founded a dozen years ago, a nonprofit, has now served children who are reaching adulthood. And so we've always considered it part of our mission to serve individuals throughout the lifespan, but now the rubber is hitting the road and we really have to have a place to serve them as adults.
And how many people do you think you'll have on site? How many people will be residents there?
The campus that we have designed includes 8 homes, each of which will serve 4 people. So 32 adults will live there.
Wow, this is wonderful. And will this be private pay or will you accept Medicare? I know a lot of people want to know about third-party waivers too. Do you kind of have an idea of that?
We do. We feel very strongly that we have to design housing that will allow people to tap into their Medicaid dollars. So in South Carolina, the kind of primary waiver for people who need housing is called the IDRD waiver, intellectual disability and related disorders waiver. It takes a very long time to get on that waiver, 7 to 10 years. And I just feel very strongly that once people have waited and gotten on that waiver and are entitled to staffing paid for through Medicaid dollars, we need to provide housing that will allow them to tap into that.
Now, I know half of your campus is already built out because you're serving individuals as we speak. When can we expect to see a landscape of the homes and what they look like inside?
We don't know exactly. I can tell you, I've got a little, we've been working with an architect out of Massachusetts, actually, who has some experience building homes for people with developmental disabilities. And in fact, he has 2 adult sons on the spectrum. So I adore working with him. And you can see the campus. I don't know if people are just listening or if they're seeing, but the campus has 8 homes on one side of a pond, and then several other facilities that are amenities that will make it just a nice place to live. I got a recreational center with a pool and tennis courts and basketball courts, a community building, and where some day programming will take place, and then a vocational job training site where we'll work on training people to obtain employment outside and also provide some job opportunities in-house.
And then they'll be able to use some of the money that they're making outside of living there for their living expenses right there on campus.
Absolutely, absolutely. We aspire to give them as traditional a living arrangement as possible. And frankly, the inspiration for this design was the assisted living facility that my mother lived in for the last few years before she passed away. It was fantastic. I mean, we paid good money for her to live there for a few years, and it's the kind of thing that we probably couldn't have supported had she needed to live there several decades, but we could support it for a few years. And people with autism don't have access to that kind of really just awesome place to live. In part because it is expensive to maintain. So that's why we want to make sure that people can tap into those Medicaid dollars and that we build something that's attractive. I want my son to have a place that I'm excited about him moving into so that when we pass away, he'll have the support of community. He'll have access to amenities that keep him happy on a day-to-day basis.
I love this. And so now, obviously, we know your son's going to be the first campus resident. But
I don't know that, but I hope he'll be in the first wave.
Right. And with 32 living adults right there on campus, I know that we haven't actually broke ground on those homes yet, but when can we expect groundbreaking, and when can we expect for people to start putting themselves on a wait list for living there?
Within the year.
Excellent. I love it. I can't wait to see you actually cutting that ribbon, Lorri. I really can't.
I can't wait. I'll send you a picture, Gina. I absolutely cannot wait.
Lorri Unumb, founder of the Unumb Center for Neurodevelopment, making waves in South Carolina, building a community right there on the spot. Thank you so much, Lorri, for being back on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Take care.
I'm Lyra Gillenwaters. Thanks for checking out this episode of Life with the Spectrum. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll always see the newest episodes when they come out.
Finally, we head out west to Rainbow Acres in Arizona. With me today and right now, Mike Prochelo, the president and CEO of Rainbow Acres. Thanks for being on the show, Mike.
Hey, it's great to be here. Good to see you.
Now, listen, with your community, you have a whole kind of separate area for high functioning, or young adults who might need a little bit more assistance, right?
Yeah, right. As far as our vocational program goes, at Rainbow Acres with folks that are on the spectrum, we have a variety of supports and opportunities for both on ranch and in the community opportunities for our ranchers.
And about how many ranchers do you have living on site?
So total is about 88 ranchers on site. Of those, about 50% of those are on the spectrum, and we have 50 people that are in our vocational program, and roughly half of those are on the spectrum.
And how does the housing look like there? Is it like a house with 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, or what is it? What's the makeup?
Well, that's a good question. We have 12 houses. They're all 10 bedrooms, and they have 5 rooms on each side of the house with a common area for dining and a living room and eating, as well as med management. And then in each house is at least one caregiver suite, so we have on-site caregivers full-time.
Oh, I love this. And you mentioned your vocational programs. So do you have people, you're training people to work and then go off-site to work, or how does that look?
Yeah, so exactly. So the first thing we do is an evaluation to assess the need and the desire, and then we determine what the best path is. We don't throw people right into employment. The first thing we want to do is provide them with some resources to learn about what employment means, what sort of responsibilities they're going to have, what their schedule is going to look like, what sort of skills they're going to need to develop in order to be successful at not only just working at the job, but also going out and applying and interviewing for whatever position they're looking for.
And about how much does it cost to live at Rainbow Acres?
Monthly tuition at Rainbow Acres is $4,740, includes everything in our program that you can have access to.
And now for the more high-functioning folks that are living on their own kind of independently, is it still the same price, or does that price come down a little bit?
Well, right, that's a good question. So our independent living apartments, the monthly rate for those apartments is $1,950. And that includes some meals, not all meals, but it does include attendance in our academy and our vocational supports as well. So a lot of our independent living residents do work off ranch, and that's after they've gone through our pre-vocational program, and then it's, of course, with the support from our vocational director.
And Mike, a lot of these places take, and what I'm finding out are waivers are a big opportunity to kind of supplement that income, Social Security. Does Rainbow Acres also allow waivers and different things like that? Or is it all private pay?
So we are private pay. Many of our ranchers have Social Security benefits that they will assign to Rainbow Acres that will offset their tuition. About a third of our ranchers, well, let me put it this way, half of our ranchers have some form of tuition assistance that Rainbow Acres provides through our philanthropy program, through our donors.
Wonderful.
Right, and that equates to about a third of our annual budget is Rainbow Acres and our parents and everyone else who's on Team Rainbow, as I call it, out generating charitable donations and contributions to Rainbow Acres in the form of Adopt a Rancher or tuition assistance.
And so if people were interested in getting in touch with you, maybe coming out to take a tour, or I don't know if there's virtual tours online, what's your website?
So our website is rainbowacres.com.
And do you have social media where people can also find you there?
Yeah, absolutely. We're on Facebook. That's about the only social media we're really exploiting at this point is Facebook, a little bit on LinkedIn. That's also rainbowacres.com. I will say our admissions team is pretty busy. We don't have a wait list yet. But as you know, with staffing challenges, we're trying to find the best value for every bed and the best place for every individual as they come into Rainbow Acres. New admissions are all full tuition pay at this point. Unfortunately, that's the reality of our budget situation. We're not bringing on more new ranchers that require tuition assistance. Just want to clarify that.
Okay, good deal. Mike Prochelo, the president and CEO of Rainbow Acres in Arizona. Thanks so much again for being with me.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to see you, and I look forward to chatting with you again.
See what I'm talking about? 3 great communities, and there are more popping up all over the country, servicing our high-functioning adults on the spectrum and our more profound adults with autism. What I love is right here in Atlanta, although we don't have, or I know of plans to build a community like this, we do have some movers and shakers making a difference, like our friends at Two Sparrows Village, which I have a show right here on the channel. You can scroll back and look for that with Jennifer Conforti. And then, of course, our friends at Annandale Village. We did a show with Casey Pierce, and you can look for that right here on the channel as well. You know, hopefully one day we can build a community right here. I would love to be front and center for that and be there for the old ribbon cutting ceremony for sure. Thank you again for checking out Life with the Spectrum. Our goal is to, again, connect you with tools and resources and organizations that maybe you and your family did or didn't know about. Make sure you like, comment, share, and feel free to subscribe to the channel. The more the merrier. Until next time, we live life with the Spectrum. See ya.